No, brother, that'll be.
Robbie, go ahead.
Most kind, gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day, and God, we thank you for all the many blessings that you bestowed. We just pray that you'll be with this meeting, Lord, as it's conducted. Be with each and every one of these commissioners as they serve the districts in which they were elected to do so. For it's in Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Please.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Greg Brooks.
Here.
Debbie Davis. Here. Daniel Deal. Dewey Estimate.
Here.
Mark Evans.
Here.
Jeremy Kinsey.
Here.
Sean Kipinger.
Here.
Samantha Trent.
Here.
James Whitty.
Here. First, approval minutes, previous meeting.
Motion to approve unapproved minutes.
Second.
Got a motion by John, second by Debbie. Any discussion? Roll call.
Greg Brooks.
Yes.
Debbie Davis. Yes.
Yes.
Mark Evans. Jeremy Kinsey.
Yes.
Sean Kipinger.
Yes.
Samantha Trent.
Yes.
James Whitty.
Yes. Next is approval of reports of officers.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion by John, second by Samantha. Any discussion? Roll call.
Greg Brooks.
Yes.
Debbie Davis.
Yes.
Dewey Estimate.
Yes.
Mark Evans. Jeremy Kinsey.
Yes.
Sean Kipinger.
Yes.
Samantha Trent.
Yes.
James Whitty.
Yes.
Yes.
Next is approval of notaries. I believe we got two. Anissa Longley from Ocoee, Tennessee, and Mike Whitmire, which should be also, well, Benton, Tennessee.
Motion to approve. Second.
Got a motion by John, second by Jeremy. Any discussion?
I did notice about Michael Whitmire, this is a reappointment, so I won't say any more. You can't read his signature, but it's a reappointment, so I'm sure he's got it. To begin with, he had it down right.
Any more discussion? Roll call.
Greg Brooks.
Yes.
Debbie Davis.
Yes.
Dewey Estimate.
Yes.
Mark Evans. Jeremy Kinsey.
Yes.
Sean Kipinger.
Yes.
Samantha Trent.
Yes.
James Whitty.
Yes.
8 yes.
I don't believe we got any budget amendments this month. No complaints from anybody. Moving on to lodging tax resolution. Commissioner Picture, this is from last month.
With it being in this month's, how do you want to handle we gave it a resolution number last month.
Well, if it's this month, it'd be 8/1/19.
I didn't know how you want to handle that, so it's be 8/1/19.
I assume. Y'all want me to go ahead and read it?
If you would.
Resolution 8/1/19 is a resolution to request amendment to chapter number 52, House Bill 2399 by Representative Chris Newton, substituted for Senate Bill number 2384 by Senator Miller of the Private Acts of 2005 of Tennessee. Whereas the governing body of Polk County, Tennessee has reviewed growth and needs assessments through the 2017-18 budgeting process, and whereas the legislative body of Polk County understands it wishes to change the direction of funding practices as set forth in chapter number 52, House Bill number 2399, Senate Bill number 2384 of the Tennessee Private Acts 2005. Now therefore be it resolved by the Polk County Commission meeting in regular session this 20th day of June. What is the day?
22nd.
All right, we'll change that to the 22nd. That's right, 22nd of August. So we've been at this since June. Be it resolved by the Polk County Commission meeting in regular session this 22nd day of August 2019 at the Copper Basin Community Center, in Ducktown, Tennessee, that the Polk County Legislative Body hereby makes request that the Tennessee House and Senate for the following changes be made effect. Article 8, that section 1J be added as follows. J, Parks and Recreation, means public parks and recreation locations where such property is designated under the Polk County Parks and Recreation Board and/or Polk County Legislative Body. Article 2, that section 1K. John, what is that, a 1 or I?
That's, I.
Okay.
Well, actually, that's section 1K, that's right.
Section 1K, Part K, be added and read as follows. K, meaning library, means public county public libraries as served through the Polk County budgeting process. Article 3, that section 1I, be added and read as follows. Do what?
That's section 1L, it's J, K, and L.
We're gonna start punctuate, or putting capital letters. This section 1L be added and read as follows. Promotion designee means employees, firms, or other entities set by the Polk County Legislative Body to promote the county of Polk and work with other interests to highlight the county as an economic opportunity for the betterment of all businesses and locations in the county. Article 4, that's section 2, which reads 3% be changed to read 5%. Article 5, that section 3A be changed to 1/5. Article 6, that section 3B be changed to read 2/5. Article 7, section 3, C, D, E, and F be added as follows and equal a total of 2%. 2% combined. C, the county shall provide 1/5 of the tax to the Polk County Library budget above the current maintenance of effort and any other considerations already budgeted for Polk County libraries, with such addition not affecting local maintenance of effort. Section D, the county shall provide 1/3 of 1/5 of the tax to the county parks and recreation budget. E, the county shall provide 1/3 of 1/5 of the taxes revenues to be set in the county budget process to create and maintain a promotion designee system as determined in Article 3, Section 1L, for the purpose of promoting tourism, furthering economic development, and providing funding for such achievements. Section F, the county shall designate 1/5 of the lodging tax to public sanitation expenses. Article 9, that Section 3 that reads as follows. The act shall be made effective on the first day of July. Should that say 2020?
No, not here.
2005 to coincide with the first day of the fiscal year. All reservations taken prior to the effective date of this act shall be deemed exempt from said taxation. Any reservations taken after the effective date of this act for July 1st, 2005, or any period thereafter shall be subject to such taxation. The act shall be made effective on the first day of July 2020 to coincide with the first day of the fiscal year. Any reservations taken after the effective date of this act for July 1st, 2020, or any period thereafter shall be subject to such taxation. This resolution shall become effective on passage of public welfare requirement.
Make a motion to approve 7/1/19. $8/1/19.
You make a motion for 8/1/19?
Yes, sir.
Second it.
Got a motion by John, second by Debbie. Any discussion?
Yes, sir. I'd like to know, since I wasn't on board at that time, what growth and needs assessments during the 17-18 budget process did you find the needs for this particular thing, these particular projects?
Shortfalls and being able to provide for parks We have been arguing with the library about money for years. The sanitation actually come more here lately when the increase in sanitation come around, which you are aware that we only have, 9 months of sanitation actually in our budget this year if it falls through last year's schedule. So the sanitation at 22,000 or so will be a shortfall this year if we're not very careful.
Sanitation will be several $100,000 shortfall.
Then 22 will sure help when we start cutting numbers. But Parks and Rec got sent out of the mix years ago. We never kept maintenance up, so we gave them a pretty good amount this last year. That was eat up in nothing new, but just taking care of the problems where maintenance hadn't been done. And you've got projects down at the parks. We've done some research and did find some dealing with rural county parks and recreation and their impact, economic impact. But a lot more of it deals with urban than it does rural, but there are quite a few studies out there and none of them indicate that it's a bad thing to put money in parks. One of the big sales from the library has always been that industry, according to the library boards and the state library board, industry looks at how much you are funding your local libraries when they look at coming into your area. Now, that's been a sales pitch for a long time. And if you buy into it, then, you know, that's been one of their big sales pitches when they approach this board and at the state level.
The library is much more important than having the infrastructure in the county to attract industry so that we can get the tax base raised here. Is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is it's just one component of the overall system.
What are we doing to get industry into this county, or more tourism to get more tax money into this county?
Well, we're giving 2/3 of the county tax to the chamber.
We've got the Industrial Development Board on down the agenda
We
too. We're
put
gonna
the Tennessee Overhill back
Started
into
back
the
up.
mix.
That's fine, but we've got to do more. I mean, the sanitation money that's coming up that we're going to have to spend is going to knock last year's budget out.
Well, what we were all looking at is a way to save money from last year. That's been the whole thing.
We take and deny our employees raises, they're going to take home less pay because insurance is more, but we're going to raise taxes to give to the ballparks.
The ballparks this last year, how much have you been out there?
None.
None, okay. Ballparks this last year, there's a program called FLIP, it's been out there for about 7 years. Now, I don't know what your idea of economic development or tourism is, but we had one group out of North Carolina come in 2 years ago that spent $15,000 during their week at FLIP at the park, locally. Last year, they spent $18,000, including giving $100, I believe, to each member of Chilhowie Middle School's teachers for stuff for the classroom. They bought pizzas here, they went rafting here while they were here. They went to the park every day and worked through the FLIP program. They were here, they're here for about 9 days. They done their lodging here. There was a group to 2 groups every week from churches from other counties and states also.
How much tax money did that bring in?
Well, let's see, they spent $18,000 while he's here.
How much
and
tax
they
money out of
hadn't been-
18,000?
How much tax money? Or
How much did the county benefit from that?
Well, I'd say 18,000. That's not tax money, that's 18,000 that was going to businesses to help the businesses.
That's to the businesses, but the county, how much did the
If
county get
businesses
put
can't
into
make
their
it-
budget to pay for the county
Listen, if the
employees?
businesses can't make it in the county, then you might as well not have a county.
That's why we need to promote the county to get it
So
growing,
your
so we
idea is
have a
what,
better tax
give the whole
base.
thing to the chamber? 'Cause was
I
asking
didn't, I
about
never
that
said
today.
anything about the chamber.
Well, I'm
Period.
asking you, you had on your thing today that tourism and industrial, how was you planning on doing that?
That's up to, that should be up to a committee brought together, say, okay, how can we develop this county and get more of a tax base in here? Well, let's just raise our taxes on the hotels and give it out to the ballparks. That's not gonna get more jobs in this county. That's not gonna get more taxes in this
But
county.
it's gonna bring things in and spend money.
And that's gonna benefit all the citizens of this county.
Overall, yeah. The more people you have come in spending money, the better the county is. Or am I completely off on that?
I think so.
Am I?
Well, you can look at every component of this and say that, and break them down, and each one of them, none of them's gonna benefit everybody in the county.
No.
Well, those big tourist dollars that they talk about on TV and everything about Polk County, I mean, that's where, they're claiming that's where it comes from, is all of our tourists coming through. That, you know, it was, I mean, Channel 12 had us like, their word was, Polk County sees millions of tourist dollars.
We see it going right out.
If we seen it, exactly, where is it?
I mean, there's companies that would like to have industry in the south part of the county, building warehouses, taking
Yeah.
advantage of that gateway down there. We don't have the infrastructure down there, but we got the money to take and put to the parks and recreation.
I mean,
That's
I
not
like
gonna
the
benefit
idea to help
at all.
bring in ball games and stuff on the weekends and have more kids playing sports than anything. And then if they had money for the library, I mean, it's going to help them if they don't have internet at home and all this other stuff. I mean, they can go have the resources that they need. I mean, the school's not open 24/7, but they can go sit outside a library and use the internet. Or they can go in after school and use the computers. I mean, that would help a lot. And on weekends, they can play ball games and stuff. I mean, if we had better ball fields, I mean, more kids might play sports.
That's gonna draw in the industry. That's gonna make our tax base
Actually,
better.
one of the big selling points, again, from the library board, state library board as well, has always been, when industry looks at a county, they look to see how much you fund the local library.
Yeah, because the kids use it.
Now, anybody that's been sitting on this commission for long has heard that statement come up several times.
We just
Is Ms.
had,
Rogers here?
I know.
Would you like to expand on that?
Well, it was the third question, on the questionnaire, when Saturn moved into Springfield, Tennessee, it was the third question on the questionnaire was what is adequacy of your public libraries? And I know there are lots of things that industry looks to, you know, when they move in an area, and certainly adequacy of your school system is big too. You know, but it is a component, it's an important component, I think. But, I mean, we're not talking about a lot of money. What is it, 7,000 a year?
About
I mean, it's
7,000.
1/3 of 1%, so.
And that's split between the two ends, it's not just for.
Well, and I think the recruiting of what Dewey, I mean, I'm with him. I mean, you know, I get exactly what you're saying. And I mean, you know, I think that the recruiting is what we've got to get set up with a board to go after. People are not moving to Polk County for jobs right now. They move here, actually, a lot of them move here to get away from jobs. Exactly. But they've not been here all their life, so they don't probably grasp the fact of how hard stressed we are because we don't have jobs. They love to come and see the mountains and not have to fight traffic and have decent, smaller schools for kids to go to, and they love all that.
And with the
But
decent retirement coming in.
Yeah, but it also, without it, we starve to death and can't have nice stuff without it. But I don't think, I mean, my way of thinking, and this is my way of thinking, and, you know, I don't think that this, you know, this tax right here will make a great difference in recruiting what we are needing. You know, I know that when factories and things come in, first off, they do look at schools, and like Jenny said, I guess they do. I mean, because I've never seen all that, but anyway, I'm assuming they do. Because the employees don't want to come if you don't have good schools and good living conditions, then they don't want to come and fill those jobs. So it's such a vicious cycle that it's hard to know where it ends and where it stops. But, you know, I mean, I'm with everybody's point of view here. Everybody. It's just that we ain't got nothing but pennies to offer. And you know, and a factory we've got to find locations that factories might be interested in.
Access to
Access,
the railway.
and then we need a committee that will go after them and say, look, this is what we've got. We've got 300 acres right here on Highway 411. What do you need? What are you hunting? You know, what can we do to help you?
What is that gonna take, though? That's gonna take money to do that.
Yeah. Well, it don't take that much money to start with. Now, I don't know what all it would lead to. I mean, I'm with you, I don't know.
Is the
You know.
industrial development board, is it a paid board? No, it's not a paid board.
You know, that, I mean,
I don't
But-
think
You say, is it a fake board?
it's paid.
Oh, paid, no, industrial development's not paid. I don't know.
no, I don't think so. I mean, you know, that, it would just be, you know, I think we need to get together with, you know, some business people and, people that's got some time on their hands, that, you know, older people that is retired, don't have to work. I mean, because people that work and, you know, gotta make a living, they don't have time. You know, it's, the time's not there. And, we need, you know, people that can, you know, has got the time to devote to this. And I think that was, I mean, that was something you were gonna be bringing up, wasn't it, Robbie? Something of this nature, so, but, you know, it's just, I mean, I had like, you know, like 5 or 6 phone calls, you know, and I, you know, even one of them, you know, said, well, you know, we just, you know, we love Polk County the way it is. We love it. This is why we moved here. I said, I get you. I've been here for 64 years. I love it too. But we're, you know, we gotta have a little bit of something. You know, we gotta have just a little bit to help us, you know, landowners not take the brunt of everything.
They're good.
Yeah. And, you know, but you know, we've gotta find, you know, a way to present what we have and what we've got to offer. And I, you know, and we gotta get, you know, I feel like we need to get a board together that is willing to do that, not sit on their
The board is
butts.
gonna need some money to promote it,
Yeah.
and we wanna
Well,
spend it.
it don't take a lot of promoting to get on the phone and start and typing up a lot of letters and sending things like that. I mean, there's a lot of things that can be done on a bare minimum,
Who's gonna do it? You gonna do it?
the board. Well, if anybody wants me on that board, I'll join up on it, but I mean, I feel like that would be a conflict. I mean, I think that,
Does Parks and Recreation have a charge for those games that they have?
No.
So everything is free. Why?
yeah.
Why? To get people involved.
To get everybody involved, but if you're holding tournaments and everything you say, and these people are coming from out of state, why aren't
You
they
know,
charging?
what's really bad, somebody writes something like this up and you jump all over it, but what if you wrote up and presented that states anything you're talking about now? I mean, you're all over this.
But I'm telling you, there's people calling every day, starting to use that court. And they're driving through your county and taking them up to Walker, and they're going to Cleveland and hauling these goods. And there's no one down there kind of pulling this together, and you don't have to spend a lot of time on it.
The chamber does a lot more than people realize. I know we talk to landowners in the area up there in Ocoee, and they've got ideas how they want to promote their property and see it develop. They need the assurance that they've got, somebody's got their back. And I think that if the county, the commission here takes that, the money that the chamber could get to grow it and to help that prosper, because that's going to in turn bring more people into the county. And it's going to bring more tax money in. And that's going on, like I said, that's going on now. So it's already there, and it's just a matter of getting it developed more. And if you take this away, you know, if this money's taken here, I don't disagree with raising the tax, but I think it should be divided just like it is back there in 2005. I think that 2/3 should go to the chamber and of the 5%, and a third go to the county for debt service. I think it should remain that way.
So you're saying that we should cut out resources for our taxpayers to promote more tourism. So we should pretty much cancel out our kids. They could use ballparks and libraries more.
No, we need to
But that's pretty much what he said.
do
I just-
projects
I
like she
think
just
that-
talked about
Just,
to
yeah.
get the
That's
industry
not
into the
helpful. I
county.
mean, that's really not.
Which will
helping
increase the
kids.
taxes that we can give to the ballparks and the library.
Right.
I just need to hear you say it.
I hope the industrial development board, we got it down here too. I believe it'll address some of that, I hope.
Now, here's your industrial development board, but we ain't giving you nothing to work with.
We can find, I mean, that'd
What's
be.
wrong with not promoting our county? He's our mayor, he should be calling, trying to get these places in here. I mean, we shouldn't have to pay a committee to come up here $50 for each person sitting there, because that's taking money away from what he's even saying there. When Robin should be making these calls to these industries and places like that to come in our county. I mean, that's what the mayor's supposed to do, right?
That's one of the things that I have done. But I
Well,
can't.
then we don't need a committee if you're doing it.
The one thing, the IDB board, I do not think is a paid committee.
It's not a paid
It's not
committee.
paid.
I don't believe
It
IDB.
still doesn't matter, that's the way, see, when he can do that.
Well, when a business does look at locating,
It's too much work.
the industrial development board does need to be in place, and through the state, they're authorized to, offer tax incentives to the companies looking at relocating here, and then make a recommendation to the commission, and they can negotiate stuff with a company that the commission's not allowed by law to negotiate. That's where the industrial development board comes in.
And the reason I say that.
So it
is-
is effective too for that, but they're not paid, but they do have rights to negotiate that the county commission does not have under law, but they can report to us and we can vote on it. But we're restricted about how much we can negotiate with them.
Check out the industrial board in Chatsworth, what they just pulled off down there. They did a beautiful industrial park down there, it's still up.
I understand that, but how many buildings do they have sitting down their highway that's empty, that they've left? I mean, why would you build more buildings and stuff,
But
and not
if you're in an
places
industry
that?
like mine, you can't move into an old one-story building. In my industry, you gotta go up.
That's your industry, there's other industries.
Right, but a lot of industries, your square footage goes up, you need bigger buildings. Unless you're like a restaurant or something, if you want industry, you have to go up to those types.
All right, let's vote on this and move on, roll call.
Greg Brooks,
Yes.
Debbie Davis,
Yes.
Dewey Estimont,
No.
Mark Evans,
Yes.
Jeremy Kinsey,
Yes.
Sean Pippinger,
Yes.
Samantha Trentham.
Yes.
James Whitty.
No.
6.
Daniel texted and said he couldn't be here, if he could vote by phone, he'd vote yes. So it don't count though, that's just what he said.
Hey Greg, can I say just one
Yeah.
thing before you leave? You know, I just want to remind everybody that there is a lot of lodging tax out there going uncollected, and I know y'all have started working on that, but based on the figures, I think, John said like 1% was 22,000, I think like 66,000 last year. That would mean like my little 5-cabin business remitted 10% of our total lodging tax last year. If everybody were remitting their lodging tax, that shouldn't even be close to 10%. Just from the internet search, there's 4 motels, there's 8 cabin rental companies with multiple cabins, not just, there's 7 whitewater outfitters with lodging, and I'm not talking about campgrounds, I'm talking about lodges or cabins or, roofs over your head. There's 4 retreat centers, 2 of which sleep 600 or more people per night.
gig.
Yeah,
they do.
so, and then there's 1 bed and breakfast, but that's not even counting all the Airbnbs and VRBOs, which I know are hard to collect on, but just these people that have business licenses, we are not getting all the lodging tax.
I think the county attorney's looking into what enforcement powers the county does have, so.
Okay.
And I talked to him last week.
So that's a stay.
Ms. Rogers as well on the Airbnb.
The Airbnb is useless.
All of
All
it,
of it.
Airbnb, he's gonna have a hard time trying to collect from them.
It's like that anywhere,
Yeah.
but like, Mountain State Properties is a property management company. I have 10 units in Polk County. So that should be easy to, that's not like individual owners, that's like one big property management company. I know the Airbnb and the VRBO are hard, but there's.
Well, everyone that I have a business license with through my office is paid up. I mean, they've all paid up
Okay.
and everything. But now, if they're paying what they're supposed to pay,
You
how
don't know
do,
unless
no.
you get an audit.
Yeah, unless you go audit, yeah, you have to audit them and everything. And I don't know that they've ever been audited. I don't know if Angie ever,
It just seems, for my little five-county business to represent 10% of the total lodging tax income for this county is preposterous.
It's not possible.
That's not possible. No. So,
And two, what we've had them do is, you wouldn't do this, but just use yours for example. You know how you let people float down the river? All right, they say,
Like they still.
their $200 they paid was for us to let them float down the river, and the lodging was free.
exactly.
That's how, that's the other way they get us, so.
It's a package.
Yeah,
meals,
and they'll say we charge them for the food, but the lodging was free.
Exactly.
So that happens. I know you don't, and we appreciate your honesty, but it does happen too, a lot, so. Some of that stuff's hard to track. They get creative with it.
That's awesome.
Let's see, moving on, sanitation update from the county executive.
The sanitation committee met Tuesday here at the community center. Those of you all that were here, you had asked as far as talking to the county attorney to go back into and talk with the providers if we could have a last and final offer from them. Eric Brooks had said that as long as it was limited to the providers that had turned in an RFP, that would be able to be done. So I know you had also talked about just looking for the pre-crusher compactors. The equipment builders that submitted their bids said they didn't care if they sold the county one piece of equipment or every piece of equipment. They would honor those bids for 60 days. So,
Well, do you need a motion on that?
Probably need a motion to let the county executive enter into the final phase of the bid process and negotiate with the.
it would just be for those that actually submitted, so no other ones could come in. And then if we bring those findings back and don't like those, then we kick them out and we do it again.
Is this gonna be an auction type thing? Going down instead of up? Or
I'm
you'll be
hoping that-
one-on-one in secret?
No, it'll be where
You meet with all?
it'll be an open meeting of myself with all three of those providers. It cannot be done in secret or anything like that. That would be illegal. So it'd be each one of them an opportunity, just like they had the opportunity here. It would be the opportunity once again, but all of them sit down together.
It'd be sort of like going to a bid opening, sort of.
I make the motion to empower the county executive to go into negotiations with the people who turned in a bid.
I'll second.
Sanitation.
Got a motion by John, a second by Dee. Any more discussion?
Just if the final result does come back to us for approval.
Right.
Yes.
I would say the sanitation committee would probably need to meet to get his information, you'll be able to make a recommendation to the full commission. But whatever y'all want to do on that, but for now, is there any more discussion? Roll call.
Greg Brooks.
Yes.
Debbie Davis.
Yes.
Dewey Estimov.
Yes.
Mark Evans. Jeremy Kinsey.
Yes.
Sean Pippinger.
Yes.
Samantha Franklin.
Yes.
James Woody.
Yes. Next is the hospital update, it's also from county executive.
Dr. Ulick has moved out of Building C. I have shown that building to Jamie Nicholson with AMR. They're very interested in going into a leasing agreement with the county. The only thing is the person that does everything with the buildings with AMR, he goes nationwide. And I think he's stationed out of Wyoming, somewhere or another out west. And so they're trying to get it where he can fly in, and then he would look at that building and give them the okay. The only thing that AMR would have requested is, and it's just like all the other leases that we have, a tenant leases it, they can do with the inside. If they want to change the flooring, that's up to them. They had just simply asked if they could have if they enter into this, to have a standing shower. because it does not have. Dwayne and myself walked and went with them. There's one area that would work real good. I don't think it would be anything major, but even if it is, it's something that AMR would do because that's what they need to have on the inside of that building. But if this falls through with AMR, Commissioner Pippinger and Brooks and myself had kind of talked as well to let me have the authority to go ahead and go into a contract if this does fall through, because like right now, I'm kind of waiting on AMR. If AMR says yes, then I'll have to come back with the contract for you all to approve, which is the same contract that's for every one of them. So if I had that authority, we could go ahead and enter in on Building C. Dr. Siddiqui and North Georgia Physical Therapy are current and up to date on paying their monthly bills or their monthly rent. Jeremy handed me the copy from Dr. Siddiqui that he signed his lease agreement. I signed it tonight. We're going to get it back. Jeremy's going to take it back to Doug Collins and get it signed. But I have not seen North Georgia Physical Therapies, and I have not seen the security deposits from either one of them. So also in Dr. Ulick's office, the light bills, or the lights, I had them turned on to the county's billing since he had moved out, and with not knowing when somebody's coming in to those. And they had been paid for, and not out of the county, but it had been paid for 13 lights to be on at the hospital. And if you've been up there the night, you knew it was dark. So with that being set up, I don't know why it wasn't took care of, but there are 13 street lights that are on and they are functioning now. So everything that was being paid, I just had it swapped over just like it is. And then that way, if something does come in, it'll be taken care of. Those street lights are $10, just like anything else. They're $10 a month because they're non-metered. But there are 13 street lights that are on at the hospital whenever it's dark. So that's one way. We've had a few attempted break-ins so far. It's nobody's got through, but the possibility of AMR moving up there would be great because then you'll have somebody there 24/7.
You need a motion to,
If you all would allow me that authority, if this does fall through, then I'll start to solicit somebody else to try to move into. And it's the same contract at the same pricing. The only thing that would change it would be if after, if Siddiqui's office building, after a year, they go up to the CPI index, but this would stay until they get their 1 year in.
I think it's a good idea because, I mean, we all know we ain't got people beating their doors down and rent those offices. And I'd hate to lose one just because they find somewhere else while they're waiting on the commission to meet for a month.
I thought we'd gave the county executive permission to go into contract at the set amounts.
With the
With
buildings.
the existing ones.
Yes, with it, because we actually thought at the time that Building C was going to be staying as well. Building C is the only one, to my knowledge, according with Eric, that did not have. We do have for D because Eichenbaum is in the half part of it.
I make a motion to let you enter in a contract with them or whoever.
Second.
Motion by Dewey, second by Debbie. Any more discussion? Roll call.
Greg Brooks?
Yes.
Debbie Davis?
Yes.
Hugh Espinoff?
Yes.
Mark Evans?
Yes.
Jeremy Kinsey?
Yes.
Tom Kissinger?
Yes.
Samantha Trentham?
Yes.
James Woody?
Yes.
And yes.
Also on that with the hospital, the county did receive the $50,000 hospital grant. That's something that's been worked on for a couple months. And I apologize for not being able to say anything about it, but I'd had a letter from the governor's office that wanted to keep everything on the down low, but we have been approved for that. We do have that. So with us having that now, we're going to go ahead and start to turn out the RFPs here in the next month to get the water meters separated off for those buildings. Also with having that little extra income coming in from the doctor's offices, so we're going to move forward with that. Have just a little more of cleanup work to do with the records that's being done. And I have a company that wants to look about purchasing equipment inside of the hospital. So that'll be something that kind of moving forward. Also, the CON, the licensure renewal that's coming up, it'll be coming up here in the month of October, if I'm not mistaken. if the county wants to move forward to go after that. I would recommend no, and here's why. The money that you would use for that, with the hospital being closed, there's no guarantee that the state will give us that again. But the state would not deny anybody that wants to open up an urgent care to the east side of the county. There is a need. There's an absolute need. And I hope that everybody understands that. But I'm just saying, as far as putting $4,000 to $5,000 just to have that, we can cut that back for now. But whoever would come forward, if somebody does come forward, that would want to set up an urgent care. I was on a conference call this morning with Dan Howe, Mike Bell, Doug Collins, and a potential buyer is a doctor out of Florida. So I don't want anybody to think that we're still not trying. It's at least once a month, if not sometimes twice a month, different ones that we are in contact with. And a medical facility does need to be on the east side of this county. That still is first priority. But I'm just saying, as far as it goes with the certificate of need and the licensure, unless you all tell me, no, we're going to do it, I do not recommend to put the money forth, because if somebody does come, it would be able to be applied for.
And you think they'd get it? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
no problem.
There's anybody in, Jeannie's nodding her head, yes, she knows all, but yeah, anybody at the state level that would not want to issue, that's suicide for them.
Yeah.
But that's some of the updates that I have on the hospital.
Anybody else want to speak about the hospital, any concerns or comments?
Is the roof leaking on the hospital?
There are a few leaks, nothing major. I've heard everything from, it looks like Spanish moss from all the mold growing in it. There are some issues, but it's not that bad. There are some roof leaks at different spots, which have been there over the years. That was part of the thing when Ducktown got the grant to get that fixed, but they had to let that go. But it is getting to the point to where this humidity's working hard on it. There's some of the doors that want to try to stick at times. The Wayne goes through daily, opens it up, airing it out. So, but the plan is still to stay with some type of medical facility. The thing with the hospital and with going forward with the hospital is even if somebody comes forward that's got $30 million, it takes the state to let them be able to have that. They have to go before that licensing board. They have to be able to prove to the state that they can. Now, if the county wants to move forward and sell it as real estate, we can close on a real estate deal in 30, 60 days.
I just say there are a lot of people on this side that insurance is only accepted in Tennessee.
Exactly right.
Only accepted in Tennessee, York as well.
Exactly right.
Georgia, North Carolina.
Well, nobody, yeah, we all want it. We all want it for everybody up here, no doubt. But, also, I don't know how many more years it can sit there till we don't have nothing, So at some point in time, and let's keep praying that some doctor, somebody does do something, but if it don't, then I guess we have to get realistic. And
And that's like
or we've lost it all.
Correct, and that's like the equipment inside the hospital. I showed it to Lifeline Biomedic. They came through and they done an evaluation. Of course, the first thing they asked is, can we power it up? So then I go to Tri-State, and there's going to have to be a deposit made to get Tri-State to turn the power on, because the price difference in a machine is going to be great. If it don't, as it sits right now, they may only offer $5,000 or $1,500, but if it does fire up and if everything runs, they may offer $30,000.
Yeah.
So, but that's still that chance that if somebody comes, I'd like to be able to have that stuff or some of the things there that are good and are usable before we start breaking it apart. But that's also something to think about, is getting some of the equipment out of the hospital and getting some of those things out and recouping some of the money. Last ditch effort.
The last dog that you talked to, did they give any indication of any kind of time frame that they might get back with you or anything?
Like I said, it was a conference call today with Senator Bell and Representative Howe. And this individual is out of Florida. He's got a 20-plus year career out of Florida that we talked to today, and he's wanting to try to get something moved on pretty quick. But like I said, it'll depend on the state. And if anybody's ever dealt with state government, it's even slower in county. It takes a little while.
Well, that's where our representatives, they'll need to push.
Correct.
And push hard, and not sit on the butts. If it does come, if you're
Correct.
truly interested. And
But
they
I-
can make a difference.
But also, I've had 3 or 4 and show it, and, oh yeah, we're gonna get you something other than Mr. Hatcher, and I've talked to some on the board, and be just like a balloon with air let out of it.
Yeah.
And think, all right, and try another lead. So,
Did you check into, if we had any authority to overrule, or not overrule, but since there's 9 of us, and, you know, we asked about how much debts we own, did you check into that?
I did talk to the comptroller's office, and they said that we would have to have our attorney to go back and to read as far as how original boards and things were set up, because essentially it worked just like one of the boards. I kind of talked with Eric a little bit, but, you know, that was the comptroller's recommendation, was to let the county attorney, if you wanted to have a board set up. But also, he didn't see why there would be as much. He understood that there is exceptional power with 75% versus 25%. But I also think Ducktown is on board as far as moving forward. And that was another thing with the, with Commissioner Espinot's asked, as far as to be able to sit down with all of them as an interlocal agreement. And, you know, they're wanting to be able to try to do that here this next coming week. So maybe that's something as well. If they'll come to the table, we can all sit down and talk with that.
Is that it on the hospital?
Unless somebody's got something.
Next is Industrial Development Board, and on it, we used to have one, and I want to see, like, a lot of different people apply for this from the county. Do you got, like, anybody or not anybody, but what type of people would serve best on the board? What background, business history in the community, what's more important?
You know, I want to see people that have been successful in this county. And when I say successful, I mean a successful businessman. Not somebody that goes to the chicken coop in the backyard and grabs a dozen eggs and puts them on Facebook Marketplace.
Does that rule me out?
I'm sorry. Wouldn't me too, Deb. But I think everybody understands what I'm saying. We don't need people on the board just because we know them, or because they're just a good old boy, or because of, we've got to have people that's got a background. And I think between all of us on the commission and the people in the community, that we could also, we could sit and we could name some of those. This was established back in the 80s. James Guerin, Clyde Lanning, and John Grady were some of them. I mean,
They're dead.
those are years gone by.
Yeah.
But your industrial development board has been non-existent. And what that industrial development board is anytime an industry comes in, these are the ones that has the power to negotiate. And like I said, Anissa Ingram and myself with the Economic Community Development, Ed Hall, I dare say that there's been 8 to 10 days since I've been in office, if you counted hour by hour, that we've gone out and went around the county, talked to landowners, talked to somebody called, I think Greg's even called me on one that talked about that he might want to sell his land. You go down there and you pull up, and as soon as I step out, he'll talk to me, and first thing they want to know, well, what are they going to offer me? Now, I can't, when it comes to the money part, I cannot, you know, all I can do is introduce them right now. This industrial development board is what would work that out and would really work hard for the county to get it done, as well as myself, to bring this in, to have the industry, to have the infrastructure, to have those things there. Like Greg said earlier, there's city sewer that runs all the way down 64 and it stops. Sherry came in the other day as we talked. You know, yes, that down there in the Old Fort area, it's but there's nothing there to sustain it. There's no sewer that goes south. But there is an area that Anissa and Ed, that we identified, that I really think's been overlooked. It's Standing Timber. Today, Eric Brooks and myself, we went and met with the Cleveland, at the Chamber of Commerce in Cleveland. They have a recruiter. This is a full-time paid position. I'm not asking for that. We can't afford something like that. I mean, this guy gets bonuses that are nice. But we sit down and talk to him today, and you know, and his saying was, you gotta start somewhere. And my saying has always been, the best time to plant a tree was 50 years ago. And that's the way this is. We're behind. We are way behind. We gotta stop looking and saying what we should have had, we should have had. This is the steps to get this to move forward. Like James said earlier, industries are 10, 15 years out just because things are so far back. But also whenever they come in, they want to know. I'll open and show you emails, as I showed Samantha a minute ago. I get them all the time. Site ready. Get us your packet available. What do we have? 2-3 acres out by in the industrial park out by the Boys and Girls Club. Then I'll get one that says 50,000 square foot building. I'm thinking, hey, all right, no cardwood building. Here's something. 30-foot ceilings. And it's like, okay.
Does the IDB board have the power to negotiate land, tax pricing on property that's not owned by the county?
Yes, they can make a recommendation with a potential buyer to relay to us for consideration.
Well, I know they've got power to come up with a 50 and 175% on in the industrial parks county owned. But do they have the power to do the same thing on properties not owned by the county?
They can negotiate it and recommend it to us, but they can't approve it. We have to approve what they negotiate.
They don't have the approval.
And that's also something other in the bylaws. These bylaws are very vague. And so that's something other, that's how come with bringing this to your attention. What I'm asking for you all to do is to give myself, or for you just to know, this is what myself and the county attorney are gonna start moving forward and doing. And getting this and bringing you back next month, something other a lot better, to be able to say, okay, here's some of the bylaws that need to be changed. This is the next step, because that's what it is it's a process. It's gonna take a little while. Then, you know, it'll get to where there'll be the applicationing process. Here, back here, whenever they had it, they'd nominate somebody, like, I'm gonna use Glenn. So somebody nominate Glenn from here and you'd second it. Well, you can just sit here and you vote on Glenn. That's how this was set up back in the days. And it needs to be set up to where it comes through, just like all of our boards that we have now. Where people that are interested submit it, whether it's myself that brings the recommendation to you as a board, but that'll be those things that come forward through this economic development board, or industrial development board, I'm sorry.
And two, I'm saying this from experience, from being on this commission, 16, 17 years. I hope we get everything here we can get, but it is a tough sale because of our geographic location. I've seen so many people turn us away because we're so far from the interstate. And, you know, our good employers like Crystal Geyser, or when S&S Rock was up and running, they were here only because it wasn't because of our convenient location. It was what was in the ground. And we'd probably lost them to Bradley County if that same water, those same rocks within earshot of I-75, but our resources is what got them here. And, I mean, it's a tough sale here in the county. I mean, I think we do need to improve on infrastructure to make it more desirable, but it is a tough sale in our county just because of our location. And two, when they squashed Corridor K, you know, that didn't help nothing as far as the future either. I think that was going to be a good outlet for us. And that was bad news. But our location has always worked against us. I've seen it happen many times. John Hoyt has.
Yeah, it's just, you know, the big things will just, I don't see it ever coming. But, you know, but if,
They're passing on, get calls every day. You just sit here and say it's not, I'm telling you, it's there. If I had a building down Oak Fort right now, I could fill 200,000 square feet next week. And that rail hasn't even tipped It's not even started up, it's a start.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just telling you, you guys don't look at it crazy.
And these are metal buildings, right?
You can do metals, you can do brick, whatever you want to do, you can do concrete, all that.
But our problem is, we gotta get a commitment from
No,
someone.
you don't have to. I mean, you have to decide if you want to do a county-owned industrial park, or if you want to do, like they're doing in Murray County, they're just selling the property and putting it all in that, they picked the area and said, this is where we want to build. When they put the port, and now they're just selling that property, and they're drawing people in and saying, hey, someone called Robbie, I can take you up to the land right now, and you guys can build on it and go, and you're right there.
Are you talking about that big fort going into that rail fort?
Our road got built, 5 businesses committed to build around that port. One's already building
Didn't
down
the
there.
county donate the land though to the railroad?
Petty
The
sold it.
county, basically, they did eminent.
That's what CSX said.
Yeah.
Now, they may have lied.
But all the property around there selling to
Yeah.
new businesses,
Yeah.
it's just farmland. You can look at that book I have, everyone is listed, it tells you who the owner is there sewer, yes or no, is there water, yes or no, is there fiber, yes or no, and it's up to that person, you know, like the old Sutton lumber mill is listed in there.
What was that got me thinking now, and I'm looking back, and I was always curious. What was the downfall of that thing? And I honestly don't know. I remember going to Chatsworth, and every yard in that county had a say no to the inland port sign.
The port, the reason why it was downfall was because they were concerned about the noise. It was gonna be operating 24/7. They thought it was gonna be, you know, keeping them awake, and so forth. That's what the concern was about. The original intention of the port was to be built in, with County didn't want it. And they thought, well, Cartersville didn't want it either. So the county commissioner, equivalent to the county executive, basically went down to Atlanta, Georgia, spoke to the governor. They got the commission to build that port. And then, of course, that big push to try to get the port not built, but they got it built.
Well, I just knew up here, everything, I heard about it was positive. Then you go to Chatsworth and start, this is Georgia line, all the way to Chatsworth, they was literally a sign in every yard, you know, against it. And I just always wondered what the,
It's changed, I mean, you're going from a remote farmland, beautiful landscape that now you're stepping in some 600.
Well, I was also told that our state representatives helped us absolutely zero.
Well, that was a state of Georgia thing. You see, that was all in the state of Georgia. CSX was looking for property in Georgia,
Yeah.
not in Tennessee. And so
Yeah.
that's the reason why they focused on
But
that.
there we go again, that's called promoting. It's called promoting. You may be looking in one state, but if you've got somebody pushing for you, pulling, and showing what you got, then they can flip-flop, or they can put on and join us.
why would they choose the county with the state
That's-
income tax
you know.
over a county without one 8 miles
Because
up
it's
the
all
road?
part of the Georgia port system.
Yes, it's part of that.
It's a
Yeah.
bigger thing, these.
And it keeps your money within the state.
But it's the same railroad track.
There's a major shift going on in the world right now. So all my stuff used to come into LA, Seattle. Well, they finally finished dredging the Panama Canal and making it deeper. As soon as that happened, and Savannah dredged their deeper. The minute that happened, everything is switching and coming up through Savannah. So all this stuff that was going on the west coast and rail up to land and drive up here is now going to Savannah. It goes right to Savannah, gets put on a train right there at the boat, and it's up here in a day and a half. I mean, that's the difference where it was on a train for 6 days going from Seattle and a warehouse. So now your customers are turning inventory fast.
When I spoke to the county commissioner down there about 2 years ago, he told me, he said, what's going to benefit Polk County? He said, it's warehouses. He said, that's what's going to benefit you in that area. And I asked him about the expansion of the road. He said, nothing was in the works at that time. He said, unfortunately, that's what he said to me. He said, in order for us to expand that road, he said, there's going to have to be a couple of fatalities. Well, you can see now down in the Tinga area, that we're expanding that bridge. So they're making that bridge where it can handle the traffic. I don't know what they got planned for the highway, if they're going to go on and expand it. I don't see anything.
Even before that port came, I've never understood why 411 is 4-lane from Knoxville all the way to 64 Highway, and we've got 10 miles between there and Georgia. They ain't even thinking about 4-lane. And I mean, that would complete.
You know, come through the middle of Benton that didn't even need it,
I talked
and
to,
then leave that.
I talked to a T-Dot rep down there at the Vidoc one evening. They just completely finished the 4-lane through Benton and down to there. And I said, well, when y'all gonna start down to the Georgia line? He looked at me funny. He said, I hate to tell you, he said, you're about the 12th or 13th person that's asked me that question today. He said, it's not in our 20-year growth plan or outlook to do that section.
Sure.
I could understand if just sections of it between there and Knoxville was done, but it's literally complete from Knoxville all the way to 64 Highway, and you got 8 or 9 miles down through there that's just been sitting there for years, and there's not even a plan to work on it.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Yeah. And part of it is because I feel like we've never been represented properly. I mean, that's beyond our little rinky-dink control here, you know. This is where the big boys have to come in. But see, there's not enough votes in Polk County.
I think all the money.
That's why our representatives don't care.
All the money.
Democrat or Republican, this politics has nothing to do
You
with it.
could
They
bring up
don't
your
care.
censor two in there and then start, all these citizens start emailing them. and say,
Yeah,
"Look
that's what it's gonna take.
They
That's
will.
exactly.
Well, we're in the same representative district as Bradley, and to me, you know, I personally think too much money's been spent on exit 20. Every time you pick up paper,
Yeah.
more teed up.
Well, one of our representatives told this guy, plainly told him, said that there's not enough votes. We don't have to worry about you if there's not enough votes. We go to where the votes are. That come out of his mouth. So that's why I'm saying. I mean, I'm not saying that they could have turned the world on for us or still can, but I'm saying they don't care.
Wouldn't hurt.
I am saying that. And it's not Governor Lee, but it's one of the other two.
I think you need Sherry on your industrial development.
Yeah, we're gonna stick you on there right now, we're voting. Yeah.
You're all welcome to come. I've offered a lot of you guys, if you ever want to come and tour the building and see what I'm talking about.
Okay,
It's
so
just,
where we
just
at?
let me know you're welcome to take a tour.
Next is, and when will those applications be available online?
Well, for this,
Yeah.
once we get progressing forward next month, that's what Eric said, he's hoping to have things. I've got the original, if anybody wants to read over it from 1982. So we're going to update a lot of that, but that's going to be coming for you next month.
No, we put the paper through,
Oh, yeah, anything, yes, it'll be out there for any, no, it's not just it's not and they're staggered. They're some 2-year terms, 4-year terms, and 6-year terms on the original. So that way it's staggered out. So you don't have you don't have a whole changeover all at one time, in other words. If somebody sees that they can't serve after 2 years, if they're on 2-year term, then one person will step out, somebody will step in, and, hopefully though, you'll have some people that'll be on there for a little while.
How many members are you looking at on the board?
At least 7.
Or 7?
And like at the Bradley County Chamber, one of the things they said they have it to where, not me, the mayors, but you have appointments. So like a mayor would have an appointment, but if you do something like that, then you'd have Copper Hill, Ducktown, Benton, myself. Well, if you've got a 7-person board, that only leaves 3. So that's some of the things that we just have to work out. But there's things that are there. Of course, myself, I sit over any and all boards. So, I mean, it's something that I would sit in as a non-voting member, but be able to sit there with them and help them on these things.
Our last thing is also in the county executive's capital outlay note.
Everybody get that? Gordon State Comptroller, that's all that is. Just for everybody to recognize that they got that as they move forward with this. This is for the bonds for Roy Jeans, if I'm not mistaken. This came back a little quicker. They thought it was going to be on for the next month, and I told them, I called them the other day and told them that we had it on. So for this month, this is it. It's just to identify that each and every one of you all got that piece of paper as we move forward.
And announcements, statements. Got any announcements, any statements?
I'd like to make one statement.
Who's first?
If anything is ever done about this hospital, other than a urgent care or a hospital, I will make an all-out effort to reopen and file
Lawsuit.
file with the bankruptcy court in Chattanooga, with the bankruptcy trustee, that clause that Mr. Brooks had took, I think, Eric, that had took out of the deed about the reverting the statement in there, I think that's illegal. And there'll be an all-out effort with several hundred people that will open up their claims with the bankruptcy court to whatever it sells for will go to the bankruptcy court instead of Polk County to pay the people that is still holding claims against Tennessee Chemical for the money that they owe us.
Well, I think, when we voted to negotiate the prices, with the doctors over here, well, I think we made it pretty clear, majority of this board very concerned about keeping.
If it's a hospital or an urgent care place or whatever, there'll not be a word said to the bankruptcy court. But if it's going for anything else, to repay a county debt or something like that, it will be filed.
And now, how long will it be, how long is it going to sit there? Like I said a while ago, where do you draw the line?
Well, if you're going to sell it,
Yeah.
Mr.
We do have some property that was given to the county. This is just if that it could be built, an urgent care, an update, could be built at a different location.
Where at?
On 64,
It's for sale.
just north, just east of 68. Judge Blau gave the county, I'm just saying if, Judge Blau would give the county some
I
property.
thought he'd already took it back.
Not this, not this.
This was older deal he done with us, about 8 years ago, 9 maybe.
Are you, you're saying, we know you need an urgent care. If they built one, that property was sold to them, to someone that would build and update it, because the hospital isn't updated. There's no one wanting it for a hospital up there or anything. But if they had that spot over there, or a spot, and build another one, then would you have any problem with the?
If it's sold, yes.
You wouldn't have any problem if you did get
I don't care where anybody builds anything else.
So you wouldn't have any
I'm
problem?
talking about that property right there where the hospital is sitting. That is where the discrepancy is about being took out of the deed, about the reversing the clause that was in the deed. I still think it's illegal to do that.
Regardless.
And the bankruptcy court will know it.
So,
and that's in Chattanooga. I guess everybody knows where that building's at. I know I do. I've been in this for over 26 years.
I'm as much as anybody on this board for keeping it as a hospital, and, I'm on the record, I always felt like, did the Attorney General say that was legal to do that? As far as taking that revert clause out?
We'd send everything back through
They approved it.
Eric sent everything back
Attorney
through
General?
to the companies.
Who? Attorney General did? Did
No,
he go
Eric.
through the bankruptcy court to do it?
Eric sent everything back to all parties that had an interest within, and I can't remember all of them because it was
Did
all,
nobody contact the bankruptcy court then? Because our claims is still there. And there's about 700 of them.
when they went bankrupt, or after the bankruptcy, when it was, things was being sold, I got over 1,600 phone calls. And it was from families, members that worked there, that loaned that company money, and that reverse clause will put that property right back into Tennessee Chemical or Tennessee Copper, whatever, whoever owned it at the time.
Well, our big problem is we can't force nobody to put nothing in. We can't even offer them a free ride and get them to put something in it. You know, that's, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you do. I mean, God,
Well, my question on this, like I said, I'm not arguing you at all, I agree with you, and it should be a hospital, and I'll do everything I can to make this, but
we're not
how did
doctors, so we can't open.
that bank that loaned the board that money that we co-signed for, how did that bank, as thorough, especially this day and time, as thorough as a bank is, how did they not catch that in a title search before they made that loan? I just cannot see something that big getting by.
All they had to do was read the deed. Nobody read the deed.
Banks are strict now. It's harder to buy a car now than it is to buy a house 20 years ago. And I don't see how that made it through the title search if it had.
That's how Porterville School out here got sold for $361,000.
Because at the time, it was a board setting for the hospital, and the board voted, and they took it on them. That's who signed the lease, or the bill, was the board, the hospital board.
But you know how a bank does a title search?
I
before they?
understand that, but they had rights because they had that board. And if you read that, it stated that it was divided up into Cockrell, that town, and township at that time had a board, a hospital board to oversee the business. And that's how it fell out. And if I'm not mistaken, really, I think Robert said there was a quick deed replaced, was that what you said?
Quit claim deed, probably.
I don't know how you did that when there's still two board members sitting on the board at the time, right now. There is still two board members.
Well, it sounds like to me that, I don't know, if an attorney general done something or other, sounds like to me somebody needs to go talk to him. If he don't know what he's doing, we're screwed.
He needs to read the deed.
That might be something, but somebody needs to tell him that.
The proof is laid, not the court. I don't care who the attorney general is.
Yeah, because he's got power, that, a lot of power.
Some of it's dirty, some of it's
Right, I ain't saying that, I'm just saying he's got power.
So which deed did he read?
Yeah.
But I don't think the Attorney General of the state of Tennessee can overrule the federal bankruptcy court.
Yeah, somebody oversees courts, but I don't know who
That's
it is.
exactly right, it's a federal deal.
Well, we didn't just hope that this becomes, sold to a medical facility, and what'll happen if it don't, I can see where this is going. It'll be, one court interpret one way, one court interpret this way, back and forth, county spending money, the plaintiffs are spending money, and it'd be 6 years in court, back and forth. But we just all need to hope and push for it to be a medical facility.
It's gonna be hard.
Down here in Turtletown where we use it for election place, and anybody that wants to use it can use it. And, that's how that building got to be brought into the county. The bankruptcy trustee, I called him and asked him if he wanted another building to sell. And then I told him, or I asked him, instead of selling it, could he donate it to the Little League sports program in Polk County? I didn't say Copper Basin, I said Polk County. He said, no. I said, all right, one more question. Can you donate that building to Polk County? He said, I can. It's Scott Bradley. And he did that. And Mr. Firestone at the time got a deal because the county commission agreed to accept it into the county system.
Anything else in the audience, or any more commissioners?
I have an announcement.
Go ahead.
I'd like to invite everybody out to meet your representatives, Chuck Fleischman, Dan Howell, Mr. Bell, and all the rest of them that are going to be at the GOP picnic at the River Maze this Saturday from 12 to 2.
I don't think we can talk about it, promote politics during the meeting. Being nice.
Well, I'd love to be there, but I've got to be in Memphis at St. Jude. I would love to be there.
Oh, speaking of which, Debbie's grandson has a pretty big operation today on the Wednesday before the scheduled meeting next month. And as long as it's out to everybody else, we're going to put the meeting off 1 week from the third Thursday next month, so what, the 19th?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to put the meeting on September 26th. That's all right with everybody, so Debbie can be the meeting. Anybody got a problem with that? What is that? Change that paper.
September
Check them dates, but it'll be the fourth Thursday, there's no Sunday out there. Everybody can get there on Wednesday and wait for us to, we'll be there finish this.
Close to adjourn.
Oh,